Hello, homies. Welcome to today's very special episode. Can you believe this is the Homeopathy Hangout podcast's 400th episode? How on earth did that happen? I just don't even know where the last almost 4 years have gone. For those of you who have been with me from the beginning, thank you so much. If that is you, please make sure that you pop into our Facebook group and just do a little post there to tell me how you found the podcast and how long you've been listening. If you are one of our more recent listeners, welcome to the party. It is great to have you here. And in case you don't know, our Facebook group is at facebook.com/groups/hello homies. So the group's a little bit quiet at the moment, but the idea is for you to pop any questions in there that you might have about the podcast. If you want to get hold of any of our guests or have a way of communicating with them, we do have many of them in the group as well. If there's just some clarity that you want on one of the episodes, that is a great way to get in touch with me and with fellow listeners and with some of our guests as well. So do feel free to come and join us. We haven't been shut down yet, which is pretty cool, considering I actually, in preparation for today's episode, had a re-listen of episode 300. And in that episode, I mentioned about how YouTube has given me 2 warnings already. And that was in June last year, middle of June last year. And would you believe it, not even a couple of weeks after that episode was released, YouTube deleted my entire channel with 300 videos on it. So we are in the process of re-uploading all 300 videos. It does obviously take a lot of time and it costs a lot of money for my beautiful team that is doing all this behind the scenes work. So you can still find the video episodes of our podcast. If you're somebody who's more a visual learner and you prefer to watch the videos rather than the audio, you will find us on YouTube. But I would really prefer if you wouldn't mind supporting us on Rumble, please. So if you go on rumble.com and just type Homeopathy Hangout in there, you will find all our videos. So Rumble is a much better platform for sharing alternative information. So yeah, YouTube decided that our talks on COVID vaccines was medical misinformation, and they, even though we appealed, didn't bring our channel back. So all 300 of those videos are gone. Luckily, we had it all backed up, and we're, like I said, just busy putting it all back on now. So yeah, you can watch the videos on rumble.com for those of you who are visual learners, or if you have to, you can go to youtube.com and you'll find us on there as well. Another bit of very exciting information, if you hadn't heard, is that the Homeopathy Hangout podcast is now in the top 1% globally. So that's not like the 1% of like the wellness category or alternative health. That is 1% globally. So once again, to our incredible listeners, I couldn't do any of this without you. So thank you so much for listening to the show. It is beyond my wildest dreams for us to be in the top 1% globally. It's really quite bizarre to comprehend. But yeah, you can go to listennotes.com, which is where you can find the rating of any podcast. Yes, Joe Rogan is still top 0.01%, so I still have a lot of catching up to do to get there with him. But top 1% is pretty amazing. We were sitting in the top 1.5% for quite some time. And then I think it was a month ago or so, our downloads kicked up over 750,000 downloads. And I think that was kind of like the trigger that was needed for us to get into the top 1%. So I am really proud and I'm really grateful, and yeah, it feels really surreal, and it's a lovely, lovely milestone to be celebrating along with our 400th episode. So in August this year, we'll be celebrating 4 years. We've got 400 episodes, top 1%, and 750,000 downloads. So that is pretty awesome. And I'll just say it one more time that honestly, I could not have done any of this without you listening to this podcast right now. So thank you so very much with all my heart for supporting the podcast, sharing it with your friends. listening to it on your drive home, while you're going walking your dog, while you're cooking dinner. I often get beautiful messages of people saying, you've been with me while I'm walking my dog and doing this and that. And because of the podcast, I've decided to study homeopathy, or I've started seeing a homeopath, or I've had a breakthrough in my clinical practice, or I've reached out to this guest and that guest. And it's really lovely hearing your messages, and it is what fuels my fire. So if the podcast has ever helped you in any way and you would like to let me know, feel free to drop me an email anytime at info@eugeniekruger.com. Your messages really mean a lot to me, and it does add fuel to my fire, because podcasting can be very lonely sometimes when you're putting that information out there into the universe and you're not quite sure, in what way it's impacting someone's life, or even if it is having an impact. So yeah, please do reach out if you feel this podcast has ever been of help to you. And in celebration of 400 episodes, if you haven't already, it would be really appreciated if you could please give us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. So I know for Apple Podcasts it's a little bit trickier. You have to kind of scroll to the bottom, you'll see the list of the episodes, and you have to kind of scroll to the bottom, and then you'll see the rating there. So it's not quite as easy to find as it is on Spotify. According to my podcast host, 40% of you listen to the podcast through Apple Podcasts. So I thought I should probably let you know. And thank you, Kelly Palomino, for pointing out just how tricky it is to find the rating on Apple. So I'm actually just, while I've got you, going to hop onto Spotify. So according to my podcast host, 40% of listeners listen on Apple. But if I have a look on Apple, for example, it says here that the podcast has only 58 5-star reviews. So 40% of our listeners listen through Apple Podcasts, and there's 58 5 stars. In contrast, about 15 or 20% of you listen to Spotify, but there's actually 179 5 stars on Spotify. So I think part of that is probably just because on the Apple Podcast app, it is quite tricky to see where to do it. So when you go onto Homeopathy Hangout, the main page on Apple Podcast, just kind of scroll down right to the bottom and you'll see the reviews there. And then you can just drop me a 5-star review. Please, please, please. It'll be great if we can get those Apple reviews up a bit more, because most of you are listening on Apple, which is great. And if you are on YouTube or Rumble, please do subscribe, and please do like the videos. I know it's annoying to do these things, but seriously, as a content creator, it really makes a huge difference for the algorithm. It makes our content just being pushed out to more people who do need to see it. And thank you very much for your time. So next, I just want to take a moment to thank Marcus Fernandez and the Centre for Homeopathic Education in the UK for being the major sponsor for the Homeopathy Hangout podcast. Now, something not many people realize is just how much money it costs to create a podcast. Now, if you are a listener of podcasts like I am, there's just no way that you would know the behind the scenes costs involved in paying for the hosting platform, paying for your editor, paying for the social media reels, the time it takes to find guests, to interview guests, the back and forth that goes afterwards, the show notes, making sure you've got all the links correct for your guests. It is so much work, and there is just no way that unless you have your own podcast, anyone could ever understand the level of work that's involved. So this is the part where I just want to take a quick moment to say a really special thank you to Marcus Fernandez. So Marcus and I have been working on the Unleashing Homeopathy conferences in Bali last year and this year as well, along with Sarah Valentini. And we got to know each other over the last couple of years because we've had regular meetings for the conference, and several times we talk about podcasts, because Marcus actually has his own couple of podcasts. One of them is called Beyond the Shed, which is an amazing podcast about men's health. And he has another podcast called Homeopathy at Home, which is a follow-on of the book that he released earlier this year called Homeopathy at Home, which is actually published by a major publisher, which I'm sure most of you know, called Hay House, which is a huge, huge celebration and a huge feat for homeopathy to have a homeopathy home user book like this published by such a major publishing company and available in all like bookstores around the world, obviously on Amazon as well, but you can literally walk into any major bookstore around the world and you'll find Marcus's book there, Homeopathy at Home, which now has this podcast associated with it as well. And I'm just having a quick little scroll through here, but episode 35, the most recent one, is remedies for chilblains. There's remedies for styes and blepharitis, impetigo, athlete's foot, colic, flu. So just really great little, shortish episodes between sort of 13 minutes and half an hour, where he'll go through the top remedies for these conditions. So, unless you've had a podcast yourself, it would not be possible to know the amount of work involved. And so as Marcus and I are chatting, and I mentioned to him just about, all the costs and the time that's involved in the podcast, I get to share this with him because I know that he understands, having 2 of his own podcasts. And so at the start of this year, he just reached out to me and said, Eugenie, I can see this is really affecting you, because I was mentioning to him that I'm thinking of just stopping the podcast because it's just taking too much time and too much money. And he said, just let me know what I need to give you financially to help you, to help support you to keep this podcast going, so that everyone in the world can continue listening to this podcast free of charge. And it was something that it was really hard for me to accept that, because it's hard for me to ask for help. But when Marcus said that, it was just such an unbelievable relief, because I really do enjoy doing this podcast. I can see the difference that it's making in the world. I can see the difference it's making in people's lives. And when I get these incredible messages from people around the world saying how the podcast has uplifted them, especially, during the COVID time, and inspired them to study homeopathy, and like I said, reach out to work with a homeopath, or the homeopaths that are listening that have gotten new inspiration for remedies, I realize it's a very valuable service. And so to receive this unbelievable support from Marcus and from the Center for Homeopathic Education is just so humbling and so incredible. So I, as part of this 400th episode, wanted to take a moment to thank them, because I honestly would have thrown in the towel earlier this year if it wasn't for their amazing support. So thank you so much, Marcus, and thank you so much, Center for Homeopathic Education. And this also ties me into my next part of incredibly exciting news, which you might have heard in episode 298. Oh, sorry, not 200. Where am I? 398. That I am opening the Center for Homeopathic Education in Australia. Our first intake is in September. We had a virtual open day last week, and our applications are currently open. So applications will close the 7th of July for our first sort of intake of applications. And if we haven't filled all our spots, then we will have another virtual open day, probably towards the middle or end of July. And then we will reopen applications for a short while, and then we will close them again. So if you are in Australia or New Zealand and you are interested in studying with the Centre for Homeopathic Education in the UK, well, they're obviously an international organisation, but if you would like that local flavour where we are having in-person catch-ups here in Australia, all the content is still delivered online, so it's exactly the same platform that CHE has used for 28 years. So you've got the, a huge variety of incredible world-class lecturers, people who have got decades of clinical practice who will be lecturing. We also have, like I said, in-person catch-ups, and we have Zoom calls. So you get to have that really solid classical training, along with some sprinklings of magic that I will bring in myself. And Marcus did say that I am allowed to add my own flavour to CHE Australia. So there will be lots of sprinklings of magic. A lot of my incredible guests that I've had on the podcast will get in to come and do special lectures for our students. Just expect classical, solid grounding from a wide variety of practitioners with decades of clinical practice, sprinkled with lots of Eugenie magic and lots of extra people that I'll be bringing in. And some of the clinical tools that I have found has helped me the most in my practice, you will be learning from those as well. So you can check out our website, chehomeopathy.com.au. You can also join our Facebook group. I do find that's quite a nice way. As much as Facebook annoys me, it's kind of a bit of a necessary evil, but we do have a little group there as well. So you can just look for CHE Australia, and we do have a really nice breakdown of the fees in there. We have a recording of the virtual open day that we did. That's also, the video is available in the group, so you can rewatch that, where some of the past students come on and they answer some questions as well. So yeah, pop into the group. I do also have the option for you to book a free clarity call with me. So you can email info@eugeniekruger.com and I'll give you the link to book that call. And so if you're unsure and you just want to have a little chat with me and just see if it's right for you, ask any personal questions that you might have, then I will be very happy to help you with that. So for those of you who have been listening for a while and might have been aware of the fact that my family and I have been traveling around Australia in a caravan since the start of this year. So initially we were supposed to travel for 6 months, and I was still recording the podcast and doing online consultations while we were traveling. But then we had a bit of a spanner in the works halfway through when our house sitter called and said that she needs to cancel the rest of her sit. So we were hauling ass back 1,400 kilometres from the east coast of Australia through the Nullarbor back to Perth to make sure that our 2 donkeys and our 2 dogs and our 2 cats and our 6 chickens are not left all alone. So our trip got cut short, which was really, really sad. I was so looking forward to making it all the way up to Cairns and then coming back to Perth over the 6 months, but it just was not meant to be. But my husband and I think very similarly, which is great because, fun fact for those who don't know, we actually got engaged 1 week after we met, and we got married 6 weeks later, and that was 17 years ago. So it's just as well that we think similarly, because obviously over the years, as you have kids and we've moved countries 3 times, things change a lot over the years, but we've managed to always, the way that we think and the way that we process information is very similar. So when this happened, both of us said to each other, the universe has got something planned for us. It wants us to be back in Perth earlier because it needs us to do something. So we just kind of accepted it all and came back, and things started falling into place. And then came this opportunity to start the Centre for Homeopathic Education in Australia. So when that came up, both of us were like, oh, that's what we had. That's why we had to come back sooner. So if we were still traveling, we wouldn't have been back for another month or so. So it just all made sense as to why this had to be this way. And my husband and I are both so excited for the Centre for Homeopathic Education. So there you go. We're not traveling anymore, back in Perth, but there's some very exciting things happening. So it's all good. So something else I thought might be fun is if I share with you our top 10 episodes of all time on the Homeopathy Hangout podcast. So the first one is a little bit bittersweet. It was released on January the 2nd, 2023, and it has never been surpassed by any other episode on the podcast. It was episode 149 on mega potencies with Jill Turland. So Jill was a much loved and respected homeopath here in Australia. She was still working until a few weeks before her passing towards the end of last year. She was almost 80. I think she was either just about to turn 80 or just early 80s. But such an inspiring, incredible woman. And this episode clearly resonated with people around the world because, like I said, this episode has never ever been surpassed. It's still our highest rated episode of all time. So around August, July last year, Jill and I had some messages back and forth, and she mentioned that she was going to Holland on holiday, and I was so glad that she is finally taking a break and going on holiday after working so hard for so long. And I was so sad to hear that shortly after her return to Australia, she fell ill and passed away. Her legacy will always live on, and I know that she's had a profound impact on so many thousands of people around the world with her work on mega potencies. We recently had an episode on with Kelly Palomino, who was an avid student of Jill's work. She also spoke on the mega potencies, and her episode has also been skyrocketing, which shows me that people are really ready for this information on megapotencies. I also just have to say that I have always been so skeptical of radionics machines. And I try to keep an open mind, but I just could not get my head around it. And after I interviewed Jill in 2023, and she spoke about how she's only ever used Bionetics radionics machine for all these years because of where she lived, she simply could not access remedies. So I thought, well, if Jill's used it, I should give it a go. So I bought a machine. It just sat there in my clinic for ages. I just couldn't get myself to use it. And then over time, I've used it a few times and had some really good results. So I will, every single time I use my Bionetics, I think of Jill. And I've heard so many other people that have bought radionics machines after that episode as well and have had really good success with them. So I mean, that is just really wonderful. And the fact that her episode is still our top rated episode of all times just speaks volumes about her work, but also the incredible person that she was with an absolute heart of gold. And I want to give a quick little shout out to Annie. She's probably not going to like me doing this because she was the right-hand gal for Jill and just quietly working away in the background to get Jill's amazing work out there. So Annie, I just want you to know that you are also very much loved and appreciated. And I know Jill is with you every single day. So our second highest episode was with Dr. Andreas Tilch. It's episode 218 and it's about the new strep tilch nosode, which was triturated up to a C5. Now, not only was this an absolutely incredible episode, but I got to meet Andreas at our Bali conference last year. And when you listen to him, like, he's got the most just beautiful, pure voice. You just hear his heart coming through in that episode. But I just want to tell you, actually meeting him in person is even better. Like, you have just never met a human being in your life like this person. If you want to talk about enlightenment, he is the embodiment of enlightenment. He's so humble, so kind, and he just radiates love. And at our Bali conference last year, he did this beautiful exercise where we did a meditation and then we walked around the room to loads of different people and we would look each other in the eye and would say, "I see your soul's love." And then we would just gently press our finger on the person's third eye in front of us. And we went through the whole room doing this and it was just such a profound experience. So Andreas also has an online course on the strep tilch nosode, and I'll pop the link in the show notes for how to register because I do have an affiliate code as well for what it's worth. If you use it, I think there's some sort of like kickback or something that I get. I'm always open and upfront about these things because I think it's really important, but anybody who knows me knows that there's no way I wouldn't promote this if I didn't believe in it and know that it's really helped my clients. I have done the course as well and it is really incredible. So if you would like to do his course, check the show notes for the link or just send me an email, info@eugeniekruger.com. And if you are ever in the world, anywhere where Andreas is doing an in-person seminar, be sure to go and watch and go join because he is such a beautiful person. No surprises that our third most popular episode was episode 278 on the bowel nosodes with Hilary Dorian. Now, I have often said this, that I've been a member of CHE Pro, so the Center of Homeopathic Education's professional development program, which is for homeopaths. You can probably subscribe if you're a student as well. I'm sure you would be able to. It's kind of like the Netflix of homeopathy. So you have an annual subscription and you get to have access to all these incredible lectures. So when Marcus Fernandez launched CHE Pro in 2019, I was one of the foundation members because I just saw the incredible lectures that they have there and wanted to jump in straight away. And I've never ever let my subscription lapse, which, by the way, is part of the reason I'm so confident in being part of CHE because I know about the quality of lecturers they have. So then it would have been 2019, I did Hilary's bowel nosodes lecture, which was part of CHE Pro. And I've often said on the podcast that I credit her lecture on the endocrine sarcodes and the bowel nosodes for making such a huge clinical difference in my practice. So I had to get Hilary on the podcast to come and talk a bit more about the bowel noses because I feel they're incredibly important. And that was on March 25, 2024, episode 278. And that is our third most popular episode of all time. Our fourth most popular episode of all time is episode 34 with Karen Allen, who has got the Trinity Health Hub. So Trinity Health Hub is also another amazing subscription service that you can join and pay monthly to have access to. I swear there's hundreds of lectures on there. It is absolutely incredible. So you can go to Trinity Health Hub. But Karen Allen did this webinar, or this podcast for us on December 2021 on cell salts or tissue salts. Now, I do love using tissue salts in my practice. I often use them as water bottle remedies. So if somebody's nervous system is fried, I might give them some Califos 6X and get them to pop it in their water bottle daily to have alongside what other remedies I am prescribing as well. So check out that episode too. So what are you up to now? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so fifth most popular episode of all times is with Declan Hammond, and it was called Homeopathy for Non-Ordinary States of Consciousness, and it was episode 216. So, I mean, once again, if you want to talk about enlightened, incredible human beings on this planet, Declan Hammond is right up there. He also came along to our Bali conference last year, and it was just the most unbelievable thing getting to meet him in person. He also had his birthday while we were there in Bali, which made it extra special. Now, you'll just have to listen to that episode, 216. He works at a lot of like dance festivals where often people have used various drugs and they are in what's called a non-ordinary state of consciousness. And so he speaks about how he uses homeopathic remedies to support these people. And we also have the privilege of being one of the retailers for his ayahuasca remedy, which he created in Peru. So something that I'm really passionate about is that there needs to be a exchange of energy. So something I always struggle with is that there's these incredible homeopaths around the world creating remedies which are then given to the pharmacies, and the pharmacies sell the remedy and make all the money out of it. The person who created it doesn't get anything out of it. So it's a tricky situation. I understand why that happens. I've spoken with lots of homeopaths about that. Some of them say, it's just part of the service that we provide homeopathy. But part of me just feels it's not quite right because it doesn't feel right to put so much work into creating something, then giving it to somebody else for them to make money from it. Now, please don't misinterpret what I'm saying here. I am one of the hugest supporters of our homeopathic pharmacies, and I have, every Christmas I get a gift from our local pharmacy here in Australia because I support them so much. So I love our pharmacies. I don't know how practical it would be for them to kind of compensate these people because obviously they do have a lot of remedies that they sell, but it is something that I wish we could have a bit more of a conversation around, creating a bit more of an energy flow around this. So something that I've started doing is to have a section on my website called Royalty Remedies. So in there we list remedies such as Declan's and Reita Poioinen and Dinitsa Appeline Matic, and a few others, Eileen Noman, Dr. Paul Terrio. So you can go to eugeniekruger.com and click on Royalty Remedies. These remedies cost 10% more than what my normal remedies cost. And that 10% every 6 months gets then paid directly to the people who created these remedies, which just feels like a bit more of a even energy exchange. So all of that just to say that if you would like to purchase Declan's ayahuasca remedy, he's got a few others there as well, including MDMA. You can go to my website it's anywhere in the world, but if you're in Australia, New Zealand, certainly go to eugeniekruger.com, click on shop and click on royalty remedies, and any of the remedies you purchase from that section, 10% of that will go to the person who created that remedy. So, Declan has also got decades of experience, unbelievable human being, and it was such a privilege to get to hang out with him in Bali. And speaking of Bali, we have our Unleashing Homeopathy Bali conference again this year. It is from the 23rd to the 25th of August. Now, you can go to unleashinghomeopathy.com and find out a bit more information in there. But because the early bird price has finished, you will see the full price on the website. But if you are a listener of this podcast and you've made it this far, if you want to come to Bali but you don't want to pay full price, flick me an email and I do have a discount code for you, which will give you the early bird price. So just email info@eugeniekruger.com and I will give you that special link. We do still have a handful of tickets left, so if you feel called, please do come along. We are not going to have another conference next year. Not sure what we'll do going forward. We are talking about maybe having one in 2027, but we are not sure because it is a lot of work involved. So if you are thinking of coming along, please do reach out. And just by the way, if you don't want to miss out on cool information like conferences and all sorts of other exciting things I have up my sleeve, do go and sign up to my newsletter. If you go to eugeniekruger.com, there is the option to sign up to our newsletter. So that is one of the best ways to make sure that if anything fun is happening, that you are aware of what's going on. Now, I also want to let you know, in case you don't, that I have created the most incredible range of homeopathic kits, which I've been selling for about 8-9 years now. There's a few things that make our kits quite different. I have been selling these incredible pouch kits for, must be about 8 years now, 8-9 years. And they have got carabiners on them, so you can clip them onto your belt loop of your pants. You can clip them onto your diaper bag, your handbag, basically anywhere that you are on the go, your stroller, just wherever. And these kits are absolutely gorgeous. They've got 10 3-gram bottles in them, and they've all got waterproof labels. They actually have peel back labels as well, so you can actually peel back the top label and it will reveal more information underneath. So we are the only homeopathic company in the world that offer this, which is pretty unique and exciting. It took at least half a year of research and development to design these labels, so we are very proud of them. All of them have waterproof dots on the top. Now, I was the first person in the world that I know of that have dots on all their remedies. I'm actually really excited that so many homeopaths have followed suit, because I've often thought that, we need to make it really easy for people to be able to find their remedies. And I could never understand why homeopaths don't put dots on the top of their lids to make it easy to find. So when I started doing this about 8-9 years ago, I was the only one on the market that I saw. I had never seen anyone else do this. And these days, everyone is doing it. And I am so, so happy about that, because I feel it's really important that we create beautiful, useful products for our clients, and practical, not just useful, but practical, if we want the general public to really take our profession seriously. I do think it's important that we create beautiful, practical products for them to use. That's just really easy to use, and that's why sometimes I get my back up a little bit when I see homeopaths giving remedies in little plastic bags, because I do feel that doesn't really help our profession if we want to be taken seriously. I think it's important that we dispense our remedies in either something like a plastic vial, or maybe like a little 2 or 3 gram glass bottle. You can get them for so cheap on Amazon these days, and then you can get just like a little waterproof label printer and just put like a little label on there. So I know, sometimes you just want to give your clients 1 or 2 doses, but might be worth just looking at getting like a little plastic vial or just a little glass bottle to put it in rather than a plastic bag. I know some homeopaths are going to get really angry at me. Please don't send me hate mail. That is just my thoughts. You have to do what feels right for you. But I really feel that if we want our profession to be taken seriously, it's important that we lift our game on all fronts. Now, if you are a homeopath who would like to sell some products in your clinic as well, but you can't be bothered creating it yourself, and why would you? It takes a lot of time. You are welcome to reach out to us for wholesale prices on our kits. Honestly, our pouch kits are so gorgeous, and we now have them in 10 different colors, and they come with a little kit card with instructions. They've got the, like I said, waterproof peel back labels with the dots. They are so gorgeous. So if you are interested in wholesaling our kits, please do email us at info@eugeniekruger.com. So I wanted to finish this episode off with just doing a quick little rundown of our past 100 episodes and just kind of point out which ones really stood out for me and some of the bits and pieces that I really enjoyed about recording them. So in case I lose you in this last half of the podcast, in case you have listened to the last 100 episodes and want to skip past, I want to pop in my gratitude right here for my amazing husband, Jaco Kruger, who has been by my side for 17 and a half years. And to our beautiful children, Josh and Tuli, who just ground me. The three of them, I just could not do life without them. So I am a little bit of a workaholic, and these three just help to balance out my life. They help to keep me real. They help to remind me what's really important, and that is family. And so sometimes it's easy to get kind of caught up by life, all the things going around us, social media, pressures of work, this and that. But at the end of the day, all that really matters in my life are these three absolutely incredible people. So Jaco and Josh and Tuli, I love you so much and thank you so much for your support. So let's have a little scroll through the past 100 episodes. So episode 301, I think I might not read out all the numbers. I'm just going to have a quick little scroll through and just kind of tell you about the ones that stood out for me. It was the Gambia Project with Samina Khan. That's episode 301. I was lucky enough to get to meet Samina in Bali, another incredible human being. They are looking for some people to help them at the moment, so do go check out the Gambia Project and Samina Khan. We had Noor Azem talking about homeopathy in the Middle East. Then we had Rajan Sankaran on in 303. We had Som Jandu at 304 for the College of Practical Homeopathy. We had Angelika Lemke at 305 for the School of Intuitive Homeopathy. Then we had the Banerjee Protocols with Isha Banerjee. And we had a panel discussion at episode 307, which was actually incredible. So we had Hilary Dorian, Marcus Fernandez, Mike Bridger, Dion Tabret, Sarah Valentini, and Denitsa Appeline-Matic. So that was a very insightful episode to listen to, 307. Then 308, we had Richard Pitt, which was such an incredible episode. And actually, Richard then put me in touch with Barbara Braun, who is in Swaziland and making remedies from endangered plants. Now, her story you have to listen to. I don't want to scroll up too quickly because I might lose my space here, but we'll get to her episode in a second. So, thanks, Richard, for putting me in touch with Barbara. We had Jamie Oskin for the Collaborative Homeopathic Conference. Then we had Pierre Fontaine treating autism at 310. 311, we had Annie Williams using sound as healing. 312, we talked about a Lego scan with Irene Schoenberg. We had Semionics with Dr. George Jurg from, where is he from? Romania, that's the one. Go. Dr. Jane Donegan at 314. That woman has, I don't know if I can say balls of steel, but she is unbelievable. So you have to listen to that episode. Then we had the incredible Jane Caccetti at 315, Dreams, Symbols, Archetypes. We had Agri Homeopathy with Cornelia Malta, Meteorite Provings with Sarah Cotman. Then we had Yin Yang Provings with Therese Cosgrove. Then there is a new homeopathic 24/7 platform called Swift. Then we had Loretta Ferrucci for the Kula Natural Health in South Africa, which is also a not-for-profit organization. We had the incredible Alex Stewart from Low Tox Life here in Australia on. Then we had Cosmic Homeopathy with John Twigg, that's 322. Chakra Healing with Color Remedies, Part 1 and 2 with Ambika Waters. Ambika's also coming to Bali, and oh my gosh, this woman is so unbelievable. She will have her 80th birthday just after the Bali conference, and she has only just recently closed up her practice. What an inspiration. We also sell her books on my website, so do go have a look. Then we had a debrief of the Bali conference. We had did a Q&A with Sarah Valentini. We did Shamanic Remedies of the Arctic with Reita Poyoinen, which was incredible. Definitely check out episode 327. We had another Q&A with Sarah Valentini on hyperemesis. Then chatted with Jeremy Shure about Krypton. Another Q&A with Sarah. We had a chat with my friend Elaine McDonald on her studies as a homeopath, a student homeopath. She's now qualified. We then talked about complex children and screens, the right brain approach with Dr. Chauhan. Then Ton Janssen and Roger Savage talked to us about human chemistry or homeopathic detox therapy. We had, what else do we have? Unlocking your potential with the stars using astrology with Liz Norman. Now, I just want to pause here for a second because I am currently doing Liz Norman's course on astrology for homeopaths, and it is blowing my mind. So check out jupiterrising.com as a website from memory, but Liz Norman, episode 335, absolute must listen. Then we had an episode with Patricia Hittner-O'Connell on dealing with aggravations in sensitive clients. That was a really, really eye-opening episode for me. 337 was on Erland's syndrome with Jan Blair. Then we had our holiday series. So I do this for the past couple of years where I reach out to various homeopathic colleges and like post-grad homeopathic colleges, and also to like subscription services like Trinity Health Hub or CHE Pro. And I invite them to submit lectures which our listeners can listen to free of charge. So this is content that you normally have to pay for or that would only be available through a homeopathic college. But in order to give you like a little taster of some of these schools, I invite them to donate an episode, and then we release it daily, usually for about 30 days at a time over the Christmas holidays. So definitely check out the episodes around the 350s. Let's see, it went daily all the way up to the 23rd of January. So loads of episodes for you to catch up on there, and incredible professional development for those of you who need to get your CPD hours up. So then after the holiday series, we had Dr. Eliza Song. She talked about how the microbiome health influences child development. That was also an amazing episode. Then we talked with Marcus Fernandez about homeopathy at home. We talked about life coaching and homeopathy with Lisa Rooney. And this was one of my favorite episodes with Dr. Roland Gunther in Canada, The Sacred Art of Shamia, which is just taking triturations to the next level. So you have to listen to episode 375. This is one of my favorites. I desperately want to get this man to come over to Australia and do an in-person trituration with us. He is absolutely gorgeous. Then we had Vit van Helmont talking about Beyond Symptoms, Addressing the Root of Trauma, which was another amazing one. Then Homeopaths Without Borders, we chatted with Sonia Osorio and Manuela Santiago Tegler. Probably butchered his surname. These two incredible ladies were also with us in Bali, and they're doing amazing work with Homeopaths Without Borders. Then 378 was on addiction and how homeopathy can help, and that was with Lise Battaglia, another incredible episode. Then Colin Griffith, New Materia Medica to Expand Your Consciousness. Mind-blowing episode 379. Definitely check it out. Then we had another episode with Ambika Waters, episode 380, Healing the Light Body, Igniting the Chakras. Gemotherapy with Lauren Hubelay. That was another amazing episode. Then we had Homeopathy Awareness Week, where we had daily episodes where listeners shared how homeopathy has helped them. Then the New Zealand Homeopathic Demographics Survey with Jess, Healing Complex Children, Insights from the Homeopathy Hive. That was with Sarah, Valentini and Bridget. Then Menopause Practical Tips for a Smooth Transition. That was with Ruth Hull, another amazing episode that we had loads of great feedback from. Definitely a lot of women out there struggling with perimenopause. Then we had a chat with Pat Ahern on using agri-homeopathy for farming. Clinically Verified Materia Medica with Roger Morrison. Now, this was episode 393 and one of our highest rating episodes. I won't be surprised if it's in the top 10 very soon. I am absolutely loving my Clinically Verified Materia Medica book by Roger Morrison. If you haven't got a copy, definitely check it out, and definitely check out this episode. This is a good one to actually watch on Rumble because I do have the book there and I flick through some pages. Then we have a chat with Kieran Grover about how to build a homeopathy business. Then Kelly Palomino chats with us about mega potencies. This was another huge rating episode, definitely worth listening to. Then we got to chat with Jeremy and Camilla Scheer about the Dynamis School of Advanced Homeopathic Studies. We had another episode in there about the ancient plants with Mikaela Keir. This is a trituration and seminar. The trituration is happening in the Daintree Forest, which I'm super excited about. I'm heading there in a month. Cannot wait. And then the episode with myself and Marcus and Elaine about CHE Australia. And then episode 399, Transformative School of Homeopathy with my dear friend Reita Poyoinen. Whew. That's just the latest 100 episodes. You have 300 more episodes to listen to before that. So definitely no shortage of content. If you have any ideas for guests, please do pop into my Facebook group. So facebook.com/groups/Hello Homies. We have a pinned post in there where you can pop in any suggestions for guests or any topics or anyone that you want me to interview. If you would like to donate to the podcast, it is still very much appreciated and you will get a shout out. Just visit eugeniekruger.com. On the top right, you will see a little banner that says donate to the Homeopathy Hangout podcast. So your donations are greatly appreciated still to just help support my work. And that's it for our 400th episode. If you made it this far, it looks like we're 45 minutes in. That is pretty impressive. So thank you. And also, if you have made it this far, pop it in the Facebook group so that I can give you a personal thank you. Alrighty, here's to 400 more episodes and hopefully being up there in the top 0.01% with Joe Rogan. If I ever get to meet that milestone, then I will know that I've made it and that homeopathy is well and truly part of the mainstream. So thank you for listening. For all my students that are joining the Centre for Homeopathy in Australia, I cannot wait to walk this journey with you. And that's it from me. Thank you. Bye.